Hi guys, it's Shelly here. Welcome to my channel and thank you for joining me today. So it'll come as quite a surprise to many of you, but I have some colors here to share with you guys, some color pencils to share with you guys, and specifically it's the Arrtx 126 set. And I'm a bit late to the game. I think these pencils came out probably about a year ago. I think it must be about a year that they've been around. They have a 72 set which was there before, so I'm not sure how long ago that was, but definitely this particular set has been about a year old now. And yes, I'm very late to the game, but you guys know how picky I am about my pencils and how I like to try out stock pencils before I buy any. And I don't just go and buy every single pencil that becomes popular out there, because yes, whenever a new pencil comes out, and if it is a good one and people enjoy it and you know it's worth the cost and things like that, they become popular and it's very easy to get tempted, and I try and resist that temptation, as you guys know, and so that's why I never really got these pencils, even though I've heard so many wonderful things about them. There's been so many positive reviews about them with regards to, I haven't actually watched proper reviews, but with regards to people using them in color alongs and just chatting about them on their videos. For example, one person that comes to my mind is Lucy from Lucy Just Adds Color. She absolutely loves these pencils and she has used them in color alongs and she's mentioned them, and so yeah, I've heard good things about them. So Arrtx have sent these to me, and I did think about it before I accepted. Like I said, I don't always accept every single product that someone messages me for. I always think about it. I see if it's a product I would like or would like to try. And so when they mentioned the 126 colored pencils, and I'm very grateful for it, I was sort of thinking about it and thinking whether I would really want to try them out, because I'm happy with the pencils I have, as you guys know. But I know many people probably like these pencils, might be thinking about them because they've probably heard such nice things, and so I wanted to give you my take on them, basically, if you guys don't already have them, because yeah, I didn't get it when it first came out. So it's about a year late I'm coming to this set of pencils, but hopefully you guys will be interested in seeing my views. Like I said, I'm always very picky about what pencils I add to my collection. I only have 3 main sets that I use: Albrecht Dürer pencils, the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer pencils. I didn't need the polychromos. I tried them in stock and I decided against them. Didn't really add much to my coloring. Then I have the Derwent Ink 10s, which is a bit different to Albrecht Dürer's because it's ink based, and so it gives a different feel to the coloring. And then the Caran d'Ache Pablos. And I don't think I would get the super colors, which are the water-based version of the Pablos, the exact same range of colors. So just like I have the Albrecht Dürer, so the water-based version of the Faber-Castell set, I didn't get the polychromos, and I don't think I would get the super colors for my Pablos, unless I wanted to add a couple of colors to my watercolor range, but I doubt I would. I think I'm satisfied with the sets I have. So those are the 3 sets. Now I'm not going to do a comparison of these pencils because I haven't tried Prismacolor. I think most people are somehow comparing these to Prismacolors. I don't know what Prismacolors feel like. So I'm just going to have a look at the pencils, see how I enjoy using them, how I like them on different papers, which I'll hopefully share with you guys on here. So I'll try it in different books, see what I feel about these pencils specifically. So yeah, specifically just these pencils. I just want to know how they feel on paper, how they make me feel. Do I enjoy using them? What is the layering like? Because for me, as you guys know, I love to layer. So I want to make sure I have a set of pencils that I can layer up, and I want them to be vibrant and bold because that's what I like. I want deep dark colors because I love doing shadows and highlights and creating my 3D effects. So those are the kind of things I'm going to look at, and blending, of course. But I have found solutions for blending where when I can't be bothered to blend with pencils, but we might have a look at that as well, actually. So let's get to it. All right, and I'm going to give my honest opinion to you guys. Like I said, I am very picky about what I buy with regards to my supplies, so I wouldn't want to misjudge something or put across the wrong my wrong opinions, or, you know, I don't want to lie about anything, basically, to put it directly, because just like I am quite limited in what I buy, I'm sure some of you out there would be as well, and would want to make sure you have the right, you know, reviews to look at. So I will give my honest opinion, but I'm not going to compare it to any pencils. All right, guys. So I'll just see how I feel about these ones solely. All right, so let's just get to it. We have the Arrtx 126 colors. This is the biggest set, and it says colored pencils here, and it says saturated colors, soft core, and artist quality. I love the box. I love the colors that they've chosen. It looks very spring-like to me, with the bunnies especially as well. I don't know when it came out. Was it around springtime? Maybe last year? I don't know. And then on the back, we have a swatch of the pencils with numbers, which is brilliant. Guys, I haven't tried these out yet. This will be basically my first impressions of these pencils. It says 3.8mm soft core, wide range of colors, richly saturated pigments, break resistant, good, and easy to blend, perfect. And it has the colors there, just the numbers, hopefully. Oh yes, they should be names, shouldn't they? Because I've actually printed out a swatch chart from the Arrtx website for the 126 colors. By the way, they have all their swatch charts out there if you ever wanted to get one of their swatch charts. So on their website, they have, even for those acrylic markers, you know, the 30A and B set, the 60A and B set. I think they're alcohol markers, they're pencils, and so that's where I got this from. And the reason I got this rather than doing it on my own swatch chart is because I noticed that this is not in order of what I like, and I'm assuming from their swatch chart as well that that's what the order is going to be like, probably inside. So let's have a look. So I'm just going to turn this over. So it's quite a nifty box, actually. I quite like it. I don't know, unless you keep it on your desk, keep it out accessible, it might be a bit difficult to pick up and put away, especially with my setup. So I'll have to think about how I'm going to store these pencils. But basically the lid just comes off like that. Whoops, sorry guys, my drink is right here. Move it out of the way, otherwise I'm just going to spill it. And so we have two little individual boxes where the pencils are standing straight, which is very different to all the other pencils I've actually bought in a case that opens and they're all laid out. They are pencil lead down in a foam, yeah, put into a foam sort of insert, so hopefully nicely protected. Oh yeah, to mention that this box came wrapped in a clear plastic, and then had a foam on the top and the bottom of the box, and then it was wrapped up in bubble wrap, so really well protected, hopefully, so that there's not going to be any breakages in the leads of the pencil. So that's really good. We have a little card here that says thank you from Arrtx, and it gives their hashtags if you want to use tag them on social media, all their information, the contact information, their social media information. Okay, and then we have the pencils. So it does look like, so let me just have a look first. Yes, it's got names on it, so names and numbers, which is perfect because I like the idea of that. I always swatch out, as you guys know. If you've been here for a minute on my channel, you will know that I like to swatch everything out. So it looks like we start with white, silver, metallic gold, black, cream, lemon yellow. Yes, lemon yellow. So I'm just trying to see. Hansa yellow light. Oh no, sorry, light yellow. Yeah, light yellow. Then Hansa yellow light. So it looks like it's definitely in the order of the swatch chart. So what I will do is swatch it on here, and then I can reorganize it if I want on my regular swatch chart, which is this one you guys are familiar seeing on my channel. All right, but let's see the pencils first before I do that. They are beautiful pencils. It's 126 pencils, so that's more than I have with in my Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürers and my Caran d'Ache Pablos. I'm going to pick out a nice purple. So this is a pencil. It's a round barrel We have Arrtx written there in silver and color pencil with a little star. Is that their logo? Yeah, they have a star on their box as well. And then that's the other side of it. So you see some stars, some dots just for decor. And then we have the number 804166. I don't know what the long number is, but the 80 part is the name, the number that we're looking at. And it has a name, Parma Violet. So that is perfect. As of yet, they don't have stock pencils on their website, I don't think, but I've sort of contacted them to ask them. So maybe by the time I've put this video together, I'll have an answer for you, because I've started recording it just to share this with you guys, but I do want to test it out on papers. So it will be a while before this video actually comes out to you guys. But I wanted to show you the box before I started using it, the pencils before I started using them on different papers. So unused, basically. All right. So yeah, the pencil looks good. It is a round barrel like the polychrome. I have a polychromos here. It's got a dipped end, like, I think that's what they call it, isn't it? A covered end, like the polychromos. Slightly thinner than the polychromos, ever so slightly, but they feel similar weight to the polychromos. So the Albrecht Dürers are slightly heavier than the polychromos, and I think the Arrtx is similar weight, just to give you an idea. Again, I'm not comparing them, I'm just giving you a rough idea of what they would feel like if you haven't got them, and if you're well versed with like the polychromos, for example. Then this is a Pablo's I have here. So that's a hexagon shape, but it's thinner than the Arrtx. So that's really nice that it's got a wider barrel. I'm used to wider barrels with my Albrecht Dürers. So that's nice. The Pablo's are quite thin compared to that. All right. So yeah, I'm really excited that they have the names and the numbers. I don't know if there's any light fast ratings or anything like that. Oh, did I just mess up the order? Pick this one up. Yeah, I don't see anything about light fast. I see some dots there, but I don't think that's the light fast rating. So I don't know if they have anything online about light fast, but I don't see anything obvious to me that I can recognize as light fast rating. They have a barcode. I hope they come back to me about that with regards to stock, because that would be perfect. Because if I'm not mistaken, don't they have stock markers, like their acrylic markers? I think they've started selling stock pens for them. Maybe not all the colors, but some. So maybe they'll be en route to doing that with the pencils. I don't know yet. I have asked them. Let's see what they say. All right. So I do like the box. I'm not so sure if I would keep them in this box on my desk. Shall we swatch them out? I think I'll put this to music and I'll swatch it out on this chart, and then I will see what I feel and then probably reorganize at a later time. All right, so let's get swatching. Before I get swatching, I have put a black box in the white where I'm going to swatch out the white so I can see how white it actually is. And before I swatch them out, I am going to sharpen them as well to make sure that they sharpen to a good point. I'll do one right now, the white one, to see that it sharpens to a good point and that there's no breakages. I'm a bit nervous. Okay, so yeah, that gets to a good point. I've just used my electric sharpener, the 10-win, and I stopped before because I was a bit nervous of breaking it. I didn't know what to expect yet. So yeah, we get a really nice sharp point, and I will obviously come back to you guys and tell you what it goes like how if there are any breakages or not. Okay, so I will come back and share with you guys my first impression before I try them out in different books. All right, so let's go. Okay guys, so that's the swatches and I'm going to give you my first impressions. So first of all, a range of colors. I think they're a beautiful range of colors. You have some really pastel pale colors, and then you have some dark colors, which I feel that sometimes it is hard for a set of pencils to get. I think even with my Pablos, I don't get the darkness that I like sometimes in certain colors that I do have in like my Albrecht Dürers, but there are some wonderful dark colors like this aubergine purple. We have the cobalt violet, which is really nice, the indigo blue. The browns are amazing, but I especially like these really pastel-y browns. The pastel greens are very unique, and these blues here, like the grayish kind of blues, I think those are really nice. And also these sort of yellowish pastel-y colors are really good. You have 3 neon colors, which are very vibrant for those of you who like neon colors. So yeah, generally I think the range of colors are good. You get the really pastel colors, so your highlight colors, and really dark colors for your dark shadow colors. You have some very unique colors like those yellows, like those blues. I love these peachy tones, these greens, especially that one there. Love these browns here, so the Bavarian cream and the camel, these two, really nice. And then even these like other grayish blues, which I'm going to reorganize the colors, I think, for me. But yeah, that blue, and I really like that one, the cadet blue. So yeah, some unique colors I find in this set. So color wise, color range, beautiful. Then, and I love the greens. I love that we have our yellowy greens, the more natural greens, and then you have the brighter ones. I love the range of blues as well. So you have the grayish blues, which I don't have in my Albrecht Dürers actually. Then you have the ultramarine kind of blues. You have your turquoisey blues, so really nice. And then some purples, which I again don't feel like, for example, that one here, which is aubergine purple, I don't have like in my Albrecht Dürer set, so that's really nice to have. I think though that one might be slightly similar to red violet. Those ones like the Caput Mortem. So there are some which I would say I sort of have, but there's some very nice unique colors. All right, the next thing, how did the pencils feel? I did find the pencil soft, softer than what I'm used to. I don't know about Prismacolors. I don't know about many pencils out there, but compared to the ones I've used, I do find them softer. All right, so yes, they were soft to lay down. I did find that some were softer than others. So there were a few that were slightly more scratchy compared to the others, but maybe just a handful. And I did find that some colors are a bit more pigmented than others. But the lay down was quite nice. I tried to press really hard to see how it would lay down, and then a light shade as well. Now when I was pressing really hard, the reason I wanted to press hard was, yes, to see the intensity I could get with that color, but also I wanted to see the breakability of the pencil. And yes, maybe about 4 pencils, the tips ever so slightly chipped off because they were at a very sharp point, but ever so slightly. Now I don't usually color that hard, but yes, we want to test the breakability. We want to make sure our pencils don't break. So yes, maybe about 4 pencils, I would say ever so slightly the tip did break when I was pressing down really hard. My style of coloring is layering, which is something I still need to test, but layering, so light pressure, usually light to medium. So I never really press that hard. But on another side of breakability was, how did the pencils react to sharpening? Were they breaking? Did they sharpen nicely? And generally they all sharpened really good. However, I got a lot of breakage with this color here, which is the olive green, unfortunately. So there is one loner in the whole set. So the rest of the pencils were absolutely fine. I'll show it to you. So if you look at the length of all of these pencils, they're pretty much the same length, which means that there was no breakage, okay? But this one, guys, unfortunately, it kept crumbling. I even used, after it crumbled a couple of times with my electric sharpener. By the way, I used my electric for all of these pencils. It would take me forever otherwise. But once I noticed it crumbled a couple of times with the electric, I decided, okay, I'll try my Stedler handheld sharpener. to try and avoid any more breakage, but it didn't. It was just literally crumbling. So the lead itself was crumbling, so you can see that that's how much of the pencil went. So only one out of the 126, which is pretty good for a budget brand, for an affordable brand of pencils. But you wouldn't want that to happen. So I was a bit disappointed, and it's the olive green as well. So it is a color I would actually tend to use. So that one there, that's the kind of greens I tend to go for. So I was a bit sad and heartbroken because, yeah, I'm not used to my pencils breaking like that. To be fair, I guess it can happen because, I don't know, quite a while ago, I don't know if you guys remember, I'd mentioned that my Pablos was doing that, and everyone was surprised, how can your Pablos be breaking? I did buy it as a stock, and it just literally, this particular one, which is pale yellow, it's not from the 120 set. I actually bought this one as a stock, so it may have fallen, something may have happened that it kept crumbling. So I've used that up a lot. So it does happen with even really high quality expensive pencils. So I guess sometimes, yeah, we're a bit unlucky and we get one pencil that could happen. It could happen too. So yeah, that happened with the olive green for me. So if I put it back in the box, just so you can see, I just showed you the length, but there we go. Can you see the little one section missing there? It's in there. It's down there. Okay. So yeah, one pencil breakage, but the rest are absolutely fine, guys. So that was really, really good. Packaging. I think this is quite unique packaging, and I do like it. And my husband looked at it and he's like, that's really cool. I love that. And I was like, yes, but you're saying that from a person who is not a colorist. As a colorist, to be honest, I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys. For example, that pencil that's broken, to get in there, to get that pencil out is a problem. So as our pencils get a bit shorter, it's not an ideal way of storing our pencils. Yes, when they're new and beautiful like this, it's absolutely fine. But once they start getting shorter, and you guys have seen my pencils, you guys have seen, sorry for the noise, we have our gardening going on at the moment, unfortunately. I did not realize they were going to come right now. But anyways, I'm almost done with the chatty bit. But yeah, you guys have seen what my pencils are like. They go to like really tiny stubs. And if that happens, there's no way I can store it in here. So I'm going to have to think of a storage solution for as the pencils start to get shorter, or from now, because this pencil is shorter. And to get my fingers in there, I have short fingers as well. So to get my fingers in there to get those particular pencils is a bit difficult. So I don't think it's an ideal storage once our pencils start getting used. It's beautiful otherwise when your pencils are wonderful and long. But yeah, from a lay person like my husband, he was like impressed. He's like, oh, that's awesome, that's different, that's unique. And I'm like, yes, it is, but it's not ideal for us colorists when we're trying to get to our pencils. But even if I was to move these pencils out into a pencil case, I think these boxes are actually quite ideal to use still on your desk as possible project pencils. So when you're doing a project and you don't want to pack away all your pencils. Now, you guys have just recently seen my my setup, my coloring corner, and I tend to keep pencils I'm using on a project if I need to away, just so they're easy to get back to, in a little pencil case, just in a drawer here. So you could also have it in these boxes, and that would be such a good way of you making use of this beautiful box. So yeah, I wouldn't get rid of the box, but I don't think it's ideal for short pencils when you have a full set of pencils. All right, so what I wanted to check, and I think I'll just turn over the page because I am going to re-swatch these into an order that I like. It's not a bad order actually, but I'm not used to this order, so I am going to re-thingy it. That's not the right word to use, but re-shuffle it. But I'm just getting a bit distracted with the noise outside. I hope you guys don't mind. But let's pull out some pencils, and I want to see blendability. I've already checked breakability, and I want to check layering, because you guys know I love to layer. Now I will choose, I really like this dark teal, if I can find it. which case is that in? This one. So dark teal, is it this? Yes, dark teal. Maybe I'm just going to try random now. Whether they're good ones to try out, I'm not sure. Is that an ocean green? Yes. And do I want that one, or do I want to try those turquoises, see how those blend together? Maybe I'll try that. Jade blue. Jade blue. I'm picking them out right, so that means the colors match quite decently to the barrels, because I'm just looking at the ends of the barrels and just saying, oh, is that the jade blue? And it is, so that's good. And then the light aqua, so that was right next to it. Yeah, okay, so let's try blending. So now I usually tend, as you guys know, to go for my mid-tone shades, and then I deepen up my shadows. So if I zoom in, hopefully you guys can see, I've closed my curtain because yeah, like I said, I didn't realize we were gonna have company outside. So yeah, let's do this. So I'm going in with my jade blue first. Is it zoomed in enough? I'm not putting too much pressure. I don't tend to usually. Okay, that's the other thing, dustiness, would you say dusting or whatever, like the little dust particles that create. Yes, you can see some of them. It is a fairly soft pencil from the pencils I have, so it does lay down softer than I usually have. And I think different pencils will have a different amount of dust formation. So look at that, that's blending really, really nice. This is just copy paper, guys. I'm now going in with a darker green, ocean green, and just layering on top. This is just a smooth copy paper as well. And it blends beautifully. It actually blends really nice, and it feels nice coloring with them actually. They're soft, they're vibrant. That's really nice. And I've already gone over a few times. So I went over with my jade blue first, and then with my light aqua. Then I went back over with my ocean green, and then with my dark teal. So that's already 4 layers. And then I went over again with my mid-tone and my light tone. So let's try that again, okay? Or let me just take a color. Let's take the ocean green, okay? And I'm just going to try and layer again, just copy paper. So that's layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, 5. I can put at least 5 on just copy paper. 6, 7. Okay, so lots of layers, guys. If I go in with my dark, let's see if I can layer over. I can. Sorry about that, guys. So I turned off my recording because there was way too much noise, and I realized that it would be really irritating for you guys. So I decided to stop and wait till the gardening was done and come back to you guys after. So it's a little bit quieter. I basically was discussing what the pencils can do, and yeah, just to recap, basically we did the layering, we did the blending, sorry. Blending is a yes, layering is definitely a yes. I put so many layers down there, and I can probably still, if I wanted to go in, say, I'm just going to pull out a black, okay? If I just wanted to go in and still darken up that layering, I still could. See that? So, and this is just copy paper, so the layering is really, really good, and that makes me so happy because, as you guys know, I love my layering and I love darkening up my shadows. So that's really, really good. Does it keep a point? Yes, I think so. I think I need to do more coloring though than just that little bit, but I was pressing quite hard at some point with, for example, the which one is this? The dark teal. At the end there, and it's still pointed. Look at that. So I was actually pressing quite hard to burnish it basically. So say I didn't want to put any more layers, so that last layer that you put and you do burnish, and it's still holding its point, but yes, we do need to do a bit more coloring for that. All right. The next thing I wanted to see, which I'm really enjoying with my Pablo pencils, I know some people do it with their water-based medium like Inktense, and with water-based pencils like Inktense, Albrecht Dürers. You guys tend to use Ohuhu blender pens, the colorless blenders. I like to use water with the water pencils. I just have more control and I'm able to clean it off a lot easier, quicker. And so I don't tend to use blender pens that much with my water-based pencils, Inktense or Albrecht Dürer. But what I do use it with is my Pablo pencils, which are not water-based, but it works really well in blending them. And so that really helps with the whole blending process. And so I thought I wanted to see whether Arrtx would also blend well, so that I didn't have to spend so much time doing all that blending and burnishing. So let's give it a try. What I tend to do when I'm doing blending with the water-based the alcohol colorless blender, marker pen, I tend to put a few layers down, like a medium tone or 2 medium tones and a light tone. I blend it out and then I work over it because I like that kind of finish, the intense finish. So I'll work over with my pencils again, going from my dark to the light. Now, but the main thing is to see whether, I don't know if it'll work on this paper, but whether the alcohol blender will blend it, and it does. I did that because I don't want to bring the dark shades into my light area. But there we go, look at that. So it's still wet a little bit there. So once it dries, that highlight will hopefully come back. And hopefully once it dries, I would hope that I can go back in with pencils and put in some more shadows and highlights. So that's good. Then what I wanted to check was blender pencils. Do the blender pencils work? So let's just try it here. Is that clean? I'm just going to try it on the top one here, because these are just options for blending. Now I feel that if the Ohuhu marker colorless blender worked, then something like Zest It or the Derwent blender pens, if I have one here. So these Derwent blender pens should work. Zest It or any other blending solutions should work if this worked, and it worked well. So that's the pencil. The pencil blends really nicely. So if you're someone who doesn't want to spend too much time blending with all your pencils and layers, you can use blender pencils, you can use a blender pen, and that works really nicely. And again, this is just copy paper. Once this dries, which it feels dry, I would hope that I can go back in and layer up. So I've gone with my darkest shade, which I hadn't put down on the first layer, and I can layer up even more. There we go. So yes, it is working the way I like it. I'm quite impressed, guys. For affordable pencils, these feel good in the hand. They blend well. Majority of them didn't break. One broke, which was quite sad. So that was a little bit of a negative. And they layer up and they blend really well with other tools. And yeah, I'm quite impressed, guys. So with all that in mind, I'm really happy with these pencils. I'm actually pleasantly surprised, and I don't know why. Well, I do know, because I don't usually go out and buy lots of different pencils, so that's why I never felt tempted to try it. But I understand why people like these pencils so much. They're so affordable, and you get all these colors for, I think it was, when I checked on Amazon, it was about £50. I'll make sure I put all the links in the description box below if you're interested. I know you guys have come across this pencil before, but my main aim now is I've given you my overview of what I feel about the pencils, but what I want to know is how do I feel coloring with them in my coloring book. So I want to test them out in a few coloring books. I may just do little portions. I may not do a whole page for this video because you guys know how slow I am and I'm not going to get those pages done in time. But for the video, it'll take me all year. So what I thought I would do is, even if it's just little sections, because all our coloring books have such different paper, I want to just see where it works, or does it work well? Because as you guys know, my Albrecht Dürers for me are a pencil that I use in everything, and it would be so nice to get a set of pencils like this with colors I don't have in my Albrecht Dürers that work with everything as well. And I want to see if I am as excited about them as you guys are, or those of some videos that I have seen whenever they've mentioned Arrtx in their, you know, completed pages videos, and they say, oh, they work beautifully in this paper, things like that. I want to see how they work for me, and I want to share that with you guys. So I'm going to share that with you guys on screen. I'm going to do a little bit of coloring. I'm going to let you know how I feel in probably the most popular pages. So I'm going to try them on Amazon paper, I'm going to try it in Creative Haven, I'm going to try it in a Hannah Carlson book, Rita Behrman book, definitely. You guys know that has to be there. Maybe a mythographic, since that's becoming popular with everyone nowadays. So yeah, let me pull out some books and I'm going to share that with you guys, so that you guys get more of an idea of how I feel my views about these pencils are for coloring in our coloring books. So be right back. Okay, so Amazon quality books, the standard Amazon paper, not the premium quality paper. And this is a Morgan O'Brien coloring book, a Matchstick Mouse, Springtime. And it is Amazon UK paper. I think Amazon paper is different from every Amazon you get it from. So US will differ from UK, which will differ from Japan. So this one is the Amazon UK paper. I did not apply a base. I just went in directly with the pencils. I wanted to see how these pencils are going to work on Amazon quality paper. And so I went straight in, no basing, and I just started coloring. And I found that I actually really enjoyed the pencils on this paper because they still came out really vibrant and pigmented. I was able to put down, as you can probably see on the on screen, that I'm able to do lots of layers, and yes, I'm working with a light to medium pressure to begin with, but that's how you work with layers. So yes, I was able to layer up a lot. The pencils were blending really well together. They were still vibrant even without a base, and they blended well with alcohol markers too. I wanted to try that out because I do find that on my Amazon paper, I don't tend to spend too much time trying to blend. I'll either use a water-based pencil, watercolor pencils, and blend everything with water, or I use blender pens or blender pencils. So the alcohol blender pen worked really well, and you can still go over with a pencil again over the top once the blender pen has dried up on the paper. The pencils held a point well for fur. I tried to do the fur on the mouse, and yeah, so the pencils worked well without a blender pen and with a blender pen. So on the mouse and the mouse matchstick mouse and his clothing, I did not use a blender pen, and I was still able to blend really well. And yeah, I really enjoyed the color range on in this set for this page. I did find, however, that when I was picking out the pencils, I was struggling a little bit to read the number on the pencil. So I can see the name clearly, absolutely fine, but trying to look for the numbers on the pencils was a little bit difficult for me. So yeah, if that could have been clearer, that would have been a lot easier. But I do struggle with some other pencils too, I've noticed. But yes, I definitely found that a little bit difficult for me, but at least I could read the names. And I think usually I tend to look at the names of the pencils. But yeah, I ended up finishing, I've only shown a little portion of coloring this particular page on screen, but I did actually end up finishing this page with the Arrtx pencils throughout to see how I felt for the entire page. And yeah, you'll see that in my completed pages for June to see what I came up with. But yeah, I really enjoyed the pencils on Amazon quality paper. So of course we have to try out the pencils in Hannah Carlzon books because these are very popular books, and I would say the paper quality is pretty much similar in Maria Trolle. So hopefully it gives you an idea of how they would work in Maria Trolle books as well. On this particular page, I've already started coloring this page. You guys have probably seen it as a whip before, and I have got a base down with Derwent Ink Tints, and I wanted to see how it works over the top of base as well, because yes, I do tend to base quite a lot, and so yeah, I wanted to see how it felt. Usually I would probably go over with my Albrecht Dürer pencils dry over a base, whether it's Derwent Ink Tints base, whether it's a water-based marker base or an alcohol marker base, but this time I decided to try out these Arrtx pencils. I found them nice and soft, they blended really well, and yes, they turned out vibrant. Now I know I just tried it in a very small element on the page, but they were vibrant and they worked well on the Derwent Ink Tints base. They held their point, which is brilliant, especially for such small elements. I wanted to see, because they are softer pencils than what I'm usually used to, but I wanted to see how they work on small elements. They held a point, I could use them, and that was really good. Following trying them out on a small details on a page, I also wanted to see how the pencils do on a larger area. They are softer pencils, so I tried them out on Clara Markova's postcard, and I decided to do the background with it. I don't usually do pencil backgrounds, but I wanted to see how I felt using them for a background. So there's no base applied, and I just started working on the background direct to the paper. And I found them, yes, they're soft pencils. Again, like I said, the application was smooth. And because of this, I was able to work with them, blend them together really nicely for a background. I was able to put down lots of layers. And I was able to get some really nice, from the light colours that we have in the set, really soft sort of background, which was really nice. And at the same time, when I used it for the grass section of the page, so the sky, I tried to make the colors quite soft to see if I can get a soft effect. And then for the grass, I used some quite dark shades for the shadow areas, and I was able to get quite intense bold colors. As you guys know, I love deepening up my shadows, making those shadows really dark, and I was able to do that with the pencils as well. And I did this entire page, the entire sky background and the grass with the pencils without having to sharpen them again. So that's good as well. They held their point for the entire background. So yeah, I really enjoyed using it for backgrounds, and I don't usually tend to do pencil backgrounds. That's why I chose a postcard. I'm not going in with an entire page for a background. But because they're soft, they worked really well for the background. Now, I'm not saying they're super soft. I don't know what they are compared to Prismacolors. I don't think I would be able to work with very soft pencils, but this is a good medium for me. So yeah, really good for backgrounds. So they work well for large areas as well as small details. Mythographics have become so popular recently, and so I had to try out these pencils in a mythographic book. Now, the pencils felt very, very soft and buttery on this particular paper, and it was different from all the other papers I used it on. So it was probably the most soft I found it on the, surprisingly, on the mythographic paper. Mythographic paper does have a little bit of tooth, and I don't think it was my favorite on this paper. It was a very hot day when I tried it, so I don't know if that that definitely affects the consistency of pencils, because I have felt that even my Albrecht Dürers get softer when it's really hot. So it could be that it was a very hot day, but I did find them extremely soft, and probably my least favorite. It felt my least favorite on this particular paper. Now, it could be that I'm not used to soft pencils. I always use quite hard pencils, and so those of you who use soft pencils may have a totally different opinion, that if it's nice and soft and buttery on the paper, you might actually prefer it. But for me, it was extremely soft, something I've never felt before. I've never tried Prismacolors, so I have heard they're very soft and buttery, but that's probably how I felt with these pencils on this paper. However, they blended really well. They were vibrant and pigmented, and I went directly in without a base. And I was doing the metal. I really like the metal combination I came up with. And the cadet blue that I used for this color combination, I loved it. I don't have this in my other sets of pencils, either the Albrecht Dürers or the Pablos. So that was a beautiful pencil. Okay, our beloved Rita Berman books. Now, the paper in Rita Berman's books are absolutely beautiful. And yeah, I wanted to see how the pencils work on her paper as well. I went directly in without a base again. I wanted to see how the pencils felt just to the naked paper. And yes, they felt soft. They blended really, really well. And again, I was able to do lots of layers with the pencils, which was really good. And the pencils, as you can see on screen, turned out vibrant. They held a point, and to be honest, I really enjoyed these pencils on Rita Berman's paper. Now, there are very few instances I've heard people say that they haven't enjoyed a particular pencil in her books. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed these pencils in Rita Berman's books. I know I just did a little illustration in the book, but you get an idea of how they feel. That's why we have test pages in books, and you can sort of get a feel of how the pencils are going to feel. And I'm actually quite excited to try out these pencils on an entire page in one of her books. So yes, really, really enjoyed it in a Rita Berman's book. One of my favorite artists is Melpomene Chatzipanegitu. You guys will know this if you've been on my channel for even a minute. And yeah, I wanted to see how the pencils worked in her books. And it's the same publishers as Kirby Roseanne's books. So hopefully it'll give you an idea of how the pencils would work in Kirby's books as well. So I just went directly in, again, just a small illustration to test it out. And I found them very soft. I do need to get used to this softness because I'm not used to soft pencils, but they blended really, really well. Layers were possible. As you guys can see on screen, I was able to do my usual use my usual method of coloring, which is layering, and they were vibrant. They're bold, you can see that, and that's without a base as well. And they felt wonderful coloring on this paper. This paper is quite smooth as well, but they worked really well on smooth paper. So toothy paper, smooth paper, brilliant. So the last book I wanted to try out the pencils in was a Creative Haven book, because I love colouring Teresa Goodridge's pages as well. And again, I went directly on without any basing, and I was quite interested to see how it's going to work on this paper, because they're a softer pencil than I'm usually used to. And I know that a lot of people have commented that they prefer Prismacolors in the Creative Havens than they like polychromos. And so yeah, I was able to layer, and the pencils did feel quite soft, and they blended really well. They were still vibrant and bold, and yeah, I'm actually quite intrigued to try a whole page with these pencils. So I did really enjoy it on this paper, and yeah, I think maybe it did work better than my Albrecht Dürer pencils, although I do activate my Albrecht Dürers and use them dry as well. But compared to using them dry without a base, I think these pencils worked really well compared to the Albrecht Dürers working dry on the paper. So yeah, excited about how these pencils worked on this paper too. I remember my first layer of pencil not feeling that soft at first. I thought, oh, this is going to be scratchy. But after my first very light layer of pencil and I started putting down the other layers of pencils, they started feeling really soft. So that was a bit different. But overall, I liked how it worked. So let's summarize. First of all, I hope you guys have got a good idea of how these pencils work on a whole variety of different paper. I use thin paper, thick paper, toothy paper, smooth paper, and you saw that on screen, and I hope you got a good idea. I actually enjoyed it on every single paper I tried it out in, other than the mythographic. So for that one, it's probably my least favorite. But it was very soft and buttery, something I am not used to. And that's probably all it is. And it's just something I have to get used to and maybe play around with to see how I feel. Because I still ended up going and doing all the lampposts with the Arrtx pencils, and they worked absolutely fine. I was able to actually finish all those lampposts on that mythographic page. So I think it's just a matter of me playing around with them and getting used to that soft feel of the pencils on that paper. But overall, I enjoyed it. I liked using the pencils for tiny little details. It held a point really well, and I was able to get into those little tiny elements. And I liked using it for a large area as well, for a background. And I did not find myself having to work really hard for blending for a background. As you guys know, I don't like to do a dry pencil only background. Very rarely have I done that because I do not have the patience to sit there and make sure everything blends really smoothly. But it didn't feel like I was trying to work so hard with these pencils for the background. So it worked really well for that as well. Like I said, it held a point. I did not find myself having to sharpen the pencils constantly while I was trying them out. And I was able to get a sharp point on the pencils. Yes, a couple of pencils, when the point was quite sharp, it did chip the tip a little bit, but not too badly. Other than that olive green color, which you guys saw at the beginning of the video, which may have had an issue within the pencil itself. The lead itself may have been broken inside. But other than that one pencil, it was absolutely fine. We have a good range of colors, which I really enjoyed using. Some colors I do not have in my other pencils. And I was able to get dark shadow areas, highlight areas. I was getting good, vibrant, pigmented output. And they were soft. They felt soft, softer than pencils I've usually used, but not too soft for me, other than on the mythographic paper, that I can't use them. I'm able to use them with a bit of a harder pressure if I did not want to layer and just squish those colors together and blend them really well together. Or I could do it with with the soft pressure and do layer after layer after layer, as you guys saw. So it's possible to use it in different ways. So layering as well as just putting down a heavy-handed base if you wanted to, without having to put too many layers. For affordable pencils, I would definitely recommend these pencils. Now, I'm someone who doesn't really have budget brand pencils. Yes, I've tried the Castle Arts. Yes, I've tried the Black Widows. The Black Widow pencils, and I prefer the Arrtx pencils definitely to those two, and I know I'll be using the Arrtx pencils compared to the ones that I basically destashed the Castle Arts, kept it aside for my son, and I barely use the Black Widows because I do not find that I get the vibrancy and pigment out of those pencils. I have to work really hard to get some good vibrant colors, which is what I like to get in my coloring. As you guys know, my coloring is bold and vibrant, and I am able to achieve that with these Arrtx pencils. So yes, I would recommend these pencils. They're beautiful and lovely to work with. So yeah, I am happy to have them in my collection. I would love to know what you guys think about these pencils. So do let me know in the comment section below. If you have tried them out, let me know what you guys think. And yeah, I would love to hear back from you guys. Good things, bad things, whatever. Just let me know what you guys think of the pencils. All right, guys, I'll leave you to it, and hopefully I'll be back with you guys again soon. So until the next video, thank you for watching and happy coloring. Bye bye.